Hey, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of The Monday Show. This is actually a live addendum to The Monday Show that just finished up, which happens weekly with my patrons on GMG. So if you're watching this live on YouTube, this is not the monthly free episode that we do. That is usually going to be the last Monday of the month, which I'll be doing with Owen, actually, this coming week, because we're going to Adepticon on the weekend. And this is just like a special news announcement because while we were doing the show, this went live. The video dropped from Catalyst Game Labs, creators of Battletech. If you don't know what Battletech is, you can go to various places on the channel and check it out. I've got a Let's Play for all of the various Battletech games, going through from the beginner box, the Game Over Combat box, and doing classic Battletech, but also the mass combat system, which is Battletech Alpha Strike, the original Alpha Strike release, and then also in through the new two-player starter set, which came out just a couple years ago. But Catalyst dropped this video today, 2 hours ago, that they're creating a new alternative universe to Battletech. Battletech is a deeply lore-entrenched franchise going back 40 years. It celebrated its 40th anniversary in 2023. 2024, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A long time, 4 decades, and has a huge, expansive library of lore. And the reason I wanted to make this video is people are losing their minds over this trailer because this represents a totally different, and I wanted to watch it with you guys live and hear the chat's reactions and talk about it for a minute. A completely different universe. Battletech Gothic. Now, leave alone for a second the fact that that is very close to the title of another miniature game. Battletech Gothic takes place during the Endless War. When humanity's golden age collapsed, they entered an unending civil war, but they were not alone. For vicious abominations of flesh and steel rose up to enter the fray. Mecha, grimdark demons, alternate universe, AU, Battletech miniatures 2 hours ago. Let's watch this together. I'm not going to use the audio, but the audio is basically describing what I'm going to be describing while we watch this right here. And boy, howdy, is this a lot. So they go through the history. That's the original Game Armored Combat box set. I actually have this. Came with cardboard counters and stuff. This is the second-ish edition. This is technically the third and second editions if you count Battle Droids. This is the most recent one, Game Armored Combat. So either third or fourth considering. And now Battletech Gothic. Look at that big, weird, I don't know, Hatamoto looking dude and the demons flying in the air. They really went all out on this video, including crazy, I don't know, churchy stuff, probably from the various sects. Get this flamethrower dude, probably from the Karitas. But then we get to see some of these abominations, armored, weird, orky monster things in the background that have been slain by these battle mechs. And the first reveal is that they get customizable battle mechs. You can see they have drop-in head parts here. Drop-on backpacks. There's a level of customization that hasn't really been in existence before for Battletech, so you can create your own forces and customize them the way you want to. Changing factions basically by changing heads. So a single miniature can be from multiple different factions by dropping a new head on that atlas. And this is the two-player starter set. So in the same vein as the two-player starter sets from the previous editions, you have some concept art and stuff here too. And then a big cool new logo. This Mech Warrior obviously hanging on top here, but with the Battletech Gothic logo coming summer this year. So this is obviously going to be their crowd fund for this year. Crow Media has obviously done the work here, and man, the reason I wanted to do this video is the reactions are mixed. Battletech fans are diehard about the lore. And the first top comment here, after all the bullshit this IP endured, you really dare this crap? After the clans and their stupid, unproducible laser rangers, after the Dark Age bullshit, fire sale with whiz kids, after the infinitely unlogical and stupid jihad with the myriad of words hidden mech armies, and the utter bullshit the Ill Clan era is, where you desperately and so pitifully try to clean up your wasted youth decisions. Now this, really? And then just pass. There's no need for Battletech, doesn't need fantasy. There's other games for this. Whatever this bullshit is, it's either a really bad joke or you guys have gone fully mental over the Mercenaries Kickstarter. Yeah, this is, people are getting hot. getting real hot for this. Yeah, so I wanted to see what the chat thought about this, because obviously this is a big deal for Battletech. And yeah, and to do live show here, the the live show, I mean, this is a big piece of news. One, this is obviously going to be the crowdfund for this year for Battletech. So if you're a Battletech fan, you are getting something new. But two, you're getting a whole new universe. You're getting a whole new game. This is the first time Battletech's done something like this ever. Alternate timeline, crazy new design space. And I'm going to preface it with this. I do kind of understand. I get the fact that when you have this is kind of their version of doing an Age of Sigmar without doing an Age of Sigmar. They didn't blow up the world or destroy anything or make it go away. What they did instead was they said, here's an alternate timeline. We're going to Avengers Endgame this, right? We're going to Avengers Endgame this and make it so that we have like a whole new design space to play in with monsters and demons and the various like sects and stuff like that. But I think that this is not going to be for the traditional Battletech audience. This feels like it's going to be for a new Battletech audience that wants something more grimdark. So one half of me, and here's the thing is with Battletech, I'm not particularly precious. Battletech was a game I came to later because I was a Adeptus Titanicus player, right? So I liked the customizable robots of Titanicus. It was the game I came to first for big robots. I really want to do a show with this with Joe McCullough from Frostgrave, because he and I have such interesting takes on the stompy robot genre, and he's been playing Battletech like from birth. Maybe he was just born playing Battletech. But I'm not precious about the timeline and the lore, so I can kind of sit like apart outside the circle of this Venn diagram, really understand why people who are like diehard Battletech fans aren't a huge fan of it. This feels a little like Star Trek Brave New Worlds is to Star Trek fans, where diehard Trek fans are going to go like, this isn't an alternate timeline. I don't like this. I don't like these Klingons. I don't like the way this world works. People who are coming to it for the first time and are like new to Star Trek are going to go like, oh, this is neat. It's kind of kitschy and 60s and campy and different, and like have like a different feeling about it. So one, I think we just got to take off the top. This is not for one Battletech audience. This is probably trying to create a new Battletech audience for Catalyst. And two, let's just accept that the diehard Battletech fans, I mean, a few of them will probably be like, oh, cool, neat, this is different. I can like put this thing I like to one side and then approach this other thing and go like, this doesn't threaten the thing I like. I can just kind of like use it and play with it and be in the sandbox too. But I think a lot of them are going to be like, it's just not for me. Like, it's not my Battletech. It's not serious enough. It's not the Game of Thrones in space that Battletech is. Battletech has that same sort of like low sci-fi, Iron Age kind of thing that Game of Thrones has, but for science fiction, obviously, for their like court drama and like the idea that it's like a political intrigue and stuff too. Some of the most hotly debated things in Battletech, besides how do you design the perfect mech, are like what are the political machinations and rewriting history and who did what, sort of like the history stuff of Battletech. So yeah, it does feel like it's designed to attract maybe a new audience or create a new audience. And then internally, from the Catalyst point of view, having a brand new design space gives them so much more they can do option-wise to create new things. So this is a little bit like old Warhammer going into Age of Sigmar, where like they've created this fantasy space where they can kind of do whatever they want. They can do alternate versions of characters that you love, or have them be dead, or have them like have just died, insignificant and penniless, and new characters rise up to get to them. So I'm interested to see what the chat says and thinks. Major Hatch says, just take what's unique and special with Battletech and abandon it. Well, I think we know where in the Venn diagram you sit then. Lord Chompy Kid says, it won't be a TC killer unless I can get a mech with pierced nipples. It's not going to drop Trench Crusade. Chompy Bits, I'm sure there will be an alternate pierced nipple mech in there somewhere. Cyclic says, we're 1,000% sure this isn't an April Fool's thing, though. I don't want to get got. I don't think it is. It's only the 24th, man. Like, and they haven't announced. This is usually it goes crowdfund, delivery year. Mercenaries has had its crowdfund and it started to get delivered, although obviously there's still some struggles with that. This feels like this is the crowdfund they're doing in between. I'll be really interested to see if this crowdfund is as big as the traditional ones have been, though, the last couple of years where they're growing and growing on each other, because this is just so different. Kevin Mitchell says Battle Trench 40K. I love how you can always tell someone who's my my patron in the background because they're making Trench Crusade jokes. Tim B says it's Far Country 2.0. Maybe, yeah. And then Certain Alessa says, honest though, it feels a little like the Rotten Harvest Malifaux stuff. Sure. And then Deminora says, I thought it was just a force pack for Periphery Pirates. I mean, maybe. They might do that too. Like that could be, they might even like chunk 2 crowdfunds together and do like Periphery, like Taurian Concordat stuff. And then do this as like a side-by-side, like where you could kind of back either one. And then Greg Small says Discovery, not Strange New Worlds. Isn't Strange, sorry, aren't they both alternate timeline though? You're right, Discovery is the one I'm thinking of where it's an alternate universe. But isn't Brave New Worlds also set in like the Spock different timeline? I thought it was also in the alternate timeline because Captain Pike is like still, anyway, it doesn't matter. My algorithm thing, I just made Greg so mad probably by making that mistake, but he understands what I was going for. T. Simmons Darcy says, heard from a couple CGL contacts I've got that there's other reskins coming like steampunk and cyberpunk mets. Let's go. And then Rubalist 300 says, yeah, as a diehard, I'm a big fan of Strange New Worlds. And then Treadhead's Workshop says, end of the world. Yeah, fair enough. And then Bryn Payne says, the combination of name and how much is borrowed feels a bit weird for sure. And then Greg says, far more interested in hardware coming from Modiphius than Bizarre Offering. Isn't hardware been out for a while? But yes, hardware does look really cool too. And also, if you're into this scale, you can check out Full Spectrum Dominance, which I did a Let's Play for just recently. Treadhead's Workshop says, I really want them to do an anime version based on the Japanese Battletech stuff. It would be extremely cool to see like a Dugram. If they could just get the license, do like a full-on Dugram game, I think that'd be badass. And then Rubalist 300 says, I'll be waiting for an anime version of the OG Unseen and maybe the JP version of the Stalker. That would be very cool. I mean, obviously one of the bonuses here is it looks like pretty much all of the like the current existing model range would be compatible with it in some way or another. Like the divergence is like after the human, the Star League falls, right? So most of these mechs in some variation or other would probably exist, especially the earlier ones. So you've probably got a lot of crossover in the model range. And then Major Havoc says, are they sure Battletech couldn't have benefited from more variety in starting new players? I just don't understand how this isn't a distraction unless they believe they can seriously grow Battletech more. I mean, I would say that the Alpha Strike 2-player starter set has done a lot to grow the game just by making it like, you can use your whole collection and it's a faster game and it's a little less paperwork for like people who play more modern miniature games where a lot more of the experience is curated for you. It feels like that's going to be a thing. And then Snev says, if they're going to do an alternate timeline, they have a lot of people happy by splitting at the Blake's nuke spit. That's true. Yeah. Just get rid of the Dark Ages. And then Omega Retro says, SNW is alt timeline since it continues from Discovery, but it's emulating pre-Kirk TOS. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, Omega Rex, thank you very much for backing me up here against Greg. They're both alternate timeline. I know Disco is alternate timeline too. They also both got filmed here in Toronto, so I have friends who've worked on them. And then Thunder Fox says, feels like Dark Age 2.0. Maybe. I mean, Dark Age was obviously also contentious with like existing Battletech fans, mostly because it was such a departure from the game that everyone had played before. So yeah, I don't know. This is definitely, it has a lot going for it. I just think that we have such a like, it's such an interesting time to do this. And also I can kind of see all the reasons both sides are reacting the way they're reacting. I can see why Catalyst would be excited about doing this from the point of view of like opening up more design space. And then, yeah, look at that box. And then the fact that like people who are diehard Battletech like IP fans are just going to be like, I don't know about this. This is so not what I'm looking for in Battletech. But I gotta say, those mech designs are doing it for me. It does. Maybe I could play Mech Crusade. We can just play Trench Crusade with Battletech miniatures, and we'll do that. Girufu says this just feels like all those weird Magic the Gathering side sets. Yeah, that's more of an IP grab though, right? Where like they're renting customers when you do an IP grab like that, right? You're renting somebody else's customers and having them get interested in your product line by putting like attaching an existing IP to it. I think that the alternate head swapping miniatures are cool. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm low key into this. I think this is going to be fun. I think it's fun because it's different and I love different. And obviously their starter sets are fantastic. So as long as this comes out with enough stuff that you can play it like at an interesting level at release, like not just that box set, but some additional stuff too, or make it like cross compatible with the existing model range, I do think that this is going to be like there's a level of, this has got some legs like right away that I think might be interesting. So I guess we'll see. Kevin Hubert says, I missed so much. Where can I go read more? I need this in my life so bad. There's nothing more to read. Like what I'm showing on screen right now is it, dude. You got to go to their Instagram page and you can like glean what you can from that one post. And I'm sure if you get to Adepticon, I'll corner Randall at Adepticon and ask him about it because I'm sure I can get some more info out of him and see if I can share it with you guys. Get a little bit more of what they were thinking or what the thinking was behind it, because obviously there's got to be something going on here. Ewan Smith says, are they adding kaiju to the Battletech? It looks like it. Yeah, some kind of weird like abomination monsters. And Lorcal Nega says the primer document for Gothic will be available for download very soon, and it's pretty wild. All right, well, there we go. From an inside track, there will be a primer document. They usually put those for free on the Catalyst website. I'll update the video description of this video to put it in there. So if you're watching this in the future, then go check it out. And Omega Rochera says, Ash, I blame you for me expanding my Rackham Confrontation Miniatures collection, as well as reigniting my Necromunda Spark. That's what I'm here for, man. We're polygamerists on this channel. We accept all games and flavors of games. Everything is available, especially games that don't exist anymore. Because remember, they're not dead; they're complete, and that means they can be collected, all the way to the end. Omega Rochera says, will Battletech Gothic mean more mechs with melee weapons? They look like Doom villains, you know what I mean? So like the Abominations look like Doom bad guys. So I'm assuming there's both a mix of guns and melee. But Captain Fred says Battlefleet Inner Sphere. And then Starnalicia says there seems to be a primer up as well. Oh, if there's a primer up, let's go check it out. Battletech Gothic primer, and see if I can find this on the Catalyst website. If there is, the Battletech primer's there. Shop all Battletech. Let's see if we can find it. There's a bunch of literature here. I'm not finding it. Let's just search it real fast. Battletech Gothic. It doesn't look like it's on the website right now. No. There's nothing on the Catalyst website, so unless they put it somewhere else. That I can download it. I have not seen it. Battletech primer. Is Battletech Gothic real? Some of these Google returns are so funny. Battletech primer, Gothic primer, Reddit. Maybe on Reddit. I don't know. Battletech Gothic. Is this real? I need verification in our Battletech. That's so funny. This is the thing. Everybody's freaking out, right? Because it looks like it might be April Fool's, but is this real? Seems to be the consensus. No, I can't seem to find anything about a primer. Like the picture of it obviously is in the video, but I can't seem to download, and there's nothing on Reddit. There's no Reddit link to a primer that I can see here real fast. And these Redditors would have it because they are on top of this. This thread has 11,000 responses or something insane like that. That's so funny. No, not that I can see. They posted it to Facebook. There's a link to the Google Doc. They posted it on Facebook. I'll look on Facebook then. Last chance. We'll see if we can find it on Facebook. And if I can, we'll go through it together. Catalyst. I was just on this though. Like, it's so funny because this is all happening in real time. So like I was just on this a minute ago looking at something else in the live show. And I didn't see it there. It was pictures of other stuff. God, the search returns on Facebook are insane. Catalyst Game Labs. Oh, there's the video. Here's the primer. All right. I thought this was an April Fool's joke. Oh my God, people are so funny. Okay, so there's a sign-up sheet and there's a primer. Let's have a look at the primer right now. Here we go. Come on, primer. And it's just this Google link. But I'll put a link to this in the video description in like 2 minutes. So here's the cover. It's crazy. This is just like their Dropbox. This is wild. Come on now. Here we go. So there's the background. And zoomed in on this a little bit. So there's the cover of the primer. And it looks like the back has like a map on it. Or maybe that's the map from the box. Interesting. Kudos Budo just says, wait, this is not a joke. It's not a joke. This is a real thing. This is the primer now. And let's have a look at the actual text of this bad boy. And then this is you cannot preview, it's too large. Let's download this sucker. Show it to me. Download anyway. Show me what you got. It's funny because I'm doing this while we're live streaming, so obviously there's a ton of like, this is slow as shit because it's trying to download all of this stuff. Here, let's do the, let's edit the video description and show off the primer in here too while this downloads. Just for ease of function. All right, the primer's now in the video description too, so if you just refresh the screen, guys, you'll be able to see it there. And let's have a look at this primer. What do we got going on here, boys? Oh, it's like not flattened. Battletech Gothic. A Battletech continuity game. Continuum game. So Battletech Continuum must be the like log line for whatever this series is going to be. It does seem like, yeah, they are doing their best to make this happen. Yeah, this file is not flattened, so it is taking forever to chug through right now on. I've only got the cover. I've clicked on the second page. I'm sure it will come up eventually. Yeah, it looks like there we go. Now it's loaded. The Gothic Battletech universe, a universe in shadow. It's an age of endless war on the blackened worlds of dwindling stars, lumbering battle mechs, and horrific creations of rampant biotechnology tear at one another in a desperate struggle for survival and dominance, where once the human sphere lived in a golden age under the banner of the glorious Star League, it has become unraveled as the 6 great realms remain in a squabble over horror-scarred waste worlds. From the Litany of Time. So this is our timeline. Just giving us our Deus Ex Machina for the Great Migrations. At first, the Great Migrations represented the Alliance at its apex, basically people going across the stars. The Age of War is not that different from like the current timeline. The Star League, okay, this is the current time. They're just reprinting stuff, but talking about the variations where they start using all kinds of chemical weapons. The Peacekeeper General turned the knights and his armies against the Confederacy, smashing the traitors' home realm without mercy as the Star League fell into civil war between Ameris and Kerensky. The great realms remained bystanders of the carnage, neither side helping nor hindering. Horrors not seen since the Age of War were unleashed anew as the fighting raged on for 15 years. Basically, Kerensky stays. Exhausted but victorious, Kerensky stood over the smoldering corpses of the Ameris dynasty. So the Ameris gets taken over by Kerensky. So there's your big difference. Kerensky doesn't leave. He decides to fight Ameris, and that like smashes it. Terra was freed, but the hegemony lay on its deathbed, held together only by the surviving knights and peacekeepers of the Star League. It was not to last. When the other realm lords gathered to decide the League's fate, they agreed only to strip the Peacekeeper General of his rank and position. So that's where we are now, is that the Star League has fallen, but Kerensky, the clans don't get made because Kerensky stays and fights the war. And now we're in the Endless War. Brokenhearted Alexander Kerensky returned to the ravaged worlds of the Terran hegemony for what would be the last time. There he defrocked Peacekeeper General, summoned his most loyal knights and peacekeepers to Terra. Setting the certainty of a new age of war now loomed over the human sphere. He proposed a great exodus into the unknown, hoping to establish a new life far from the corruption. So he does leave eventually, A third of the gathered warriors agreed to accompany Kerensky into self-imposed exile. In the years to come, Kerensky's followers coalesced into a grand fleet of vessels destined for the uncharted void, and thus retired the peacekeepers. So they do leave, but not until after a massive war. And abominations and grafting return to the battlefield, sparking a horrendous new arms race in biowarfare, with many unsuspecting planets falling prey to whole new breeds of specially crafted apex predators. And the endless war just keeps going on and on. So this like idea that the merger of biotechnology and technology, we're making Guyvers basically. You can see here in the art, right? We're making weird robots, and they're also like half monster to fight each other with. That's super interesting. And here we are in 3015. The Realm of Blood and Steel, the Ironclad Alliance, the Realm of Endless Dynasty, Collective of the Violet Crux, Terra Noir, the Unistar Ascendancy, the Realm of the Celestial Throne, the Golden Unity. These are our factions, our 6 factions. So they're not the human sphere. The Realm of the Blood Dragon, the Draconic Imperium, and the Realm of the Blazing Light, the Shining Kingdoms of Avalon. So the Davians are the Realm of Blazing Light. The Karitas are the Realm of the Blood Dragon. The Primium Omnium Millicentus Kelsey Illustratum is Terra Noir. Lao is the Celestial Throne. High Prince Kadar Salaj is the Endless Dynasty. And Grand Archon Lees Bradford Steiner. The Steiners are the Realm of Blood and Steel, the Ironclad Alliance. Interesting. And then each of them is going to get their own little like bit probably in the primer. How many pages is this? Oh, this is big. Oh my God, we're not going to do this whole thing. This is 72 pages. Holy crap, holy. This is a big bunch of reading. That's interesting. Well, I'm going to let you guys go through the rest of that and pick through what you think is good or terrible. But it does seem like it's almost Command and Conquer-esque. Omega Rich Travis says this would make a rather interesting episode of Grimdark Media. You're not wrong. And then Andrew B says, hi, everyone. If you like the content, you can please join us on Patreon so Ash can afford to buy all the new Battletech. Also, new glasses, because I can't paint right now because I'm going blind. The reason there's no on the paint tip right now is I can't paint. So it would be great. It would be great if everybody joined Patreon so I can go get some reading glasses so I can actually start painting again. Scott W says Catalyst can do whatever they want when they fill in missing products like the house manuals and lances, fulfill Kickstarters, and keep products in stock. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Like they can, but I do think part of this is probably going to help them get the cash flow to do that. Like we just finished if you were part of the patron chat that just happened earlier, we just finished talking about how Cool Mini or Not is, they have 10 outstanding Kickstarters to deliver and they keep making Kickstarters to get money. And they've just issued a profit share warning for $2 million in like loss this year because they have 10 outstanding Kickstarters from doing exactly that. So we'll see how this goes. The Psychopath says Kerensky always fought American left. Oh, I didn't realize. I thought it seems like this was like a different, like the fight here was a lot more depleting. It wasn't like the Star League one where he got really like defrocked and beat up after this, but I could just be wrong. My Battletech knowledge is not as powerful to know those details probably as well as you guys do. And Steph says, I can't help but feel like something other than Gothic could have been more interesting, like Cyberpunk Battletech maybe, or first Star League box, rules working around Mackies and old tanks and stuff. Maybe. I do feel like this is them trying to cast the net into, just the 40K crowd and try and grab those people, which makes sense. The Mr. Marvel says, this is so weird. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reactions happening right now. That's why I made this video. And then Andrew Brown says, this seems to be Battletech. I won't be buying it first look. Fair enough. Like I said at the beginning, I think this isn't going to be for everybody. I think the goal of this is to make new customers, not necessarily to make, to like recapture existing ones and stuff. And then X Trooper says, hey, I really thought this was fake. A friend sent it to me. I'm so shocked it's real, but it's a cool idea. And Major Rock says, I think they broke me. I just can't compute this. Durbest is in danger of annoying you. What about Drop Fleet? Can we expect to see something out of this universe, especially with the new game dawning on us? Yeah, I mean, I'll try the new game for sure. Whenever a new edition of something comes out, I try and give it a go. Usually not even by my own choice, but because either the patrons pick it for me or one of my friends and collaborators goes like, hey, I grabbed the new Drop Fleet box. Do you want to give it a try? And then we come in and play it. So much of like staying at like the edge of the curve and stuff is just because my friends are, as you can imagine, my friends and the people I play games with are equally into indie games and smaller print games as I am. And so they tend to just like show up basically half done. Lurkin Eagle says, this has been in the works for a long time. I did playtesting on it like a year ago. That's sweet. And then It's All Fun and Game says, it's sort of like taking the joke of Battletech being a 40k killer into reality as a box set. I mean, maybe. I don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a 40k killer, man. They're on Amazon. They got TV shows now. That horse is out of the barn. Yeah. And then Treadhead says, man, and Steamforged game is delivering in a game they didn't kickstart. Tides of the Dragon from Alex Lim, then Blacklist, now Steamforged. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah, it's definitely tossing lures into new ponds, but man, some of those are ugly. I think ugly is going to be subjective to the viewer because one, obviously art's subjective, but two, the fact that this like weird panoply covered grim dark stuff is really going to appeal to some people. And for those who like the clean, like especially the new MechWarrior aesthetic design of the battle mechs, like from the MechWarrior video game, because that's where like the design aesthetic is pushed to. It's a lot cleaner and more like just realistic looking. I think obviously that's people who are into that, this is not going to be for them. Major Rock says, I've played Battletech even longer than 40k. I think my main problem is that I never even considered that this was possible. I think that's going to be a big part of it. I think for a lot of people, this is just going to be like a culture shock, right? Of like, what is actually happening here? Can we believe that this is a real thing? Oh, here we got some abominations. Look at that. Oh God, it's Cadillacs and dinosaurs with bugmen flying in the background. Oh my God. Well, we know one faction that definitely uses these, and it looks like it's the Draconis, basically. The Draconis Imperials, the Draconic Imperium. The Karitas. Yeah, it tracks that they of all of them would have these like abominations being like one of their primary, fighting forces. I like the fact it looks like Cadillacs and I mean, they look like Doom bad guys. They're literally Doom bad guys. Like they've got battle mechs in the background there, but these are definitely like, they look like Doom baddies in a huge way. Yeah, that tracks. If you haven't had a look at these, this is a super Doom looking thing. And this is the like mix, I guess, of having both. The Shining Kingdoms of Avalon, they look like they don't use the abominations. They're mostly into these like Bernie robots. Yeah, he's burninating there. That's a burninator. Look at this guy. This is the Davians. And they're Shining Knights using fire to purge the abomination. There's a little bit of new art in here, but mostly text. This looks like it's the House Lao. Or no, so this is Davian, sorry. What did I say? Is it Lao? I'm also equally brain melted by this. So it's a lot. Yeah, I don't even know. Mark Finney says, I just want Battletech to remain Battletech and not a multiverse. And Jerry says, I get wanting to appeal to the 40k vibe, but is it really going to bring in longtime players to the game? No, I don't think so. I think the idea here is that it's going to be a weird flash in the pan. And then they do a different one. They do a cyberpunk one. They do one that's all werewolves or sexy minotaurs, or I don't know, follow the trend. If Trench Crusade's the current trend, then Grimdark's the current trend. Let's go with something new. Well, I think we've beaten this to death. Thanks so much for my patrons for sending this along to me to check out. And if you are watching this in the future, tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us where in those Venn diagrams you sit. Tell us if you are sitting in that circle of like, I've never even interacted with Battletech before, I'd give it a go. Or are you a diehard Battletech fan who's like offended by this? Or are you somewhere in between like me where you're like, I don't know, I'll give this a go. This doesn't threaten my love of like playing Battletech. Where do I fall inside all of this? And yeah, I think this is a whole ass different thing. And I can see it from a bunch of sides. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Talk to you later. Bye, everybody.